Hello and welcome to Three Things with JR. I'm recording this episode on a ski lift at Snowshoe Mountain, West Virginia. We happen to be on the Grab Hammer lift right now. I thought, it's Monday. I usually record my podcast and put it out Monday night, Tuesday morning, and I haven't done it yet. And we're up here skiing. So we got all this time on these lifts. It's beautiful. It's snowing. And I figured, why not? Let's record the podcast right here, right now. So when we got here last night, the roads were clear. There was the snow report said there was about 20 or so slopes open, and snow was in the forecast. It started snowing somewhere around 3 a.m., and it's currently 10 o'clock in the morning, and it hasn't stopped yet. There's at least 6 to 7 inches on the ground just from tonight and today. It is awesome, and it is coming down hard, making it a little tough to see. The groomed trails are not quite so groomed because there's 6 inches of powder on top of them, so kind of mashed potato-y, but pretty awesome. Also, we are skiing on our brand new skis for the first time and putting them to the test. I am not here alone. I am here with Kiki, and this, I can't promise anything, but this may be the first episode of the podcast that Kiki ever appears on. She has not yet decided she's willing to speak, but we'll see what we can do. We'll work on it throughout the rest of the day as we ride up these lifts. So this one's going to be recorded in chunks throughout the day. And we could ski all the way till 4:30 when these slopes close, but we may not be quite up for that. Plus, we want to get home safely, and the roads are not going to be getting better tonight. It's going to be getting colder. The snow's probably going to stop in the early afternoon, but who knows? And this is the first time in the snow for my Subaru Crosstrek. It is on the factory tires, so who knows how great it's going to be. Should be able to get out of here okay, though. I'm pretty confident we'll be fine getting home. Kiki, you want to say anything? She is shaking her head no. She is not ready to be on the podcast. We'll work on it. We'll get her done. So we'll hold off on starting thing number one here in just a little bit. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. We're on the Ball Hooter lift, which may have been a mistake. This is the bigger lift here at Snowshoe. It's also the most popular, which means there were nice long lines of people waiting in this lift. It's the fastest lift. It serves the most territory, so it gets the longest lines. And with social distancing and there's actually one good thing about this, which is normally they try to make sure every chair has the full 4 people on it, but now they're not doing that. Like they'll match up a single with another single, but they got to sit far apart on the chair. Or if you're a group of 2, 3, 4, then you can ride the chair together. But if you're just a group of 2, they don't put you with anybody else, so we don't have to ride the lift with other people, which is kind of bittersweet. Means we won't be meeting a bunch of new people up here like we normally get to do, but we do get the whole lift ride to ourselves, which is kind of nice. Isn't that right?
It's good.
Kiki's on the podcast. All right, thing number one. What do you like about skiing? You didn't ski a lot before I met you, right? You had been skiing just a little bit. And then when I met you, we started going skiing like all the time. What do you like about it?
I think I like best about it is you're always going downhill. You don't have to climb uphill.
Yeah, pretty rarely that you got to go uphill.
Yeah. I don't like walking uphill, so it's all downhill.
Yeah, so cross-country skiing is not what we're doing up here. Downhill skiing. Would this be called alpine skiing? Is this maybe what it is? I don't know. But, yeah, we're letting gravity do the work. And we just try to keep ourselves from falling down, basically.
That's the goal.
All right, so Kiki and I have been skiing a bunch since we met, and we have taken some pretty epic ski trips. We've been to Snowshoe many, many times, and the 2 trips we've done together outside of Snowshoe were we went to Canada with some friends, Jeff, Andrea, Kelly, and we went to Banff, and we skied Mount Norquay, Sunshine Village, and Lake Louise. Pretty epic.
Pretty epic.
Lake Louise was your favorite?
Lake Louise was definitely my favorite.
What'd you like about Lake Louise?
It was so pretty. I mean, by the time you got to the top of the hills, I mean, the mountains, they're not hills, they're mountains. the view was amazing at the top. And
You could actually see Lake Louise.
you could see Lake Louise, and we did skate on Lake Louise as well, and that was pretty cool.
Yep.
Walked on Lake Louise.
Took a bunch of pictures on Lake Louise.
It's really pretty.
Saw the
Louise.
ice castle at
Saw
Lake
the
Louise.
Ice castle. Yeah, I think that's why I like Lake Louise.
Jeff took a nap at Lake Louise.
Yep. Jeff took a nap at Lake Louise. We cross-country skied our way out of Lake Louise, which I didn't like the first day. But we realized that wasn't a good idea.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we
that
did it the
long
second
trail
day.
that goes around the back that ends up down at the base, but it's
Yeah, it took
it's
me
pretty
like an
flat.
hour and a half to get out of there.
Yeah, by the end of that, you're sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not fun.
We didn't do that again. The one at Sunshine's better. The ski out at Sunshine keeps you going.
Yeah, downhill the whole way.
Yeah.
All right, we're at the top of Ball Hooter. We'll be back with thing number 2 after a short commercial break and a drum solo. And we're back, and it's time for thing number 2. We are still up here on the mountain. We're on yet another lift. They just opened another lift, and it's a nice, long, slow lift. It's either called Powder Ridge or Powder Monkey. I can never remember which one of these is which. There's 2 lifts right next to each other. One's called Powder Monkey. The other one's called Powder Ridge. Any idea which one we're on?
Powder Ridge.
Kiki says we're on Powder Ridge, and I trust her, so we'll go with that. All right, thing number 2 usually has something to do with music. Kiki's a very musical person. It's because of Kiki that we sang in a choir these past few years, and we didn't get to sing in a choir this year. We started it, and we were going to be singing Broadway tunes, and it was pretty awesome. We got a month or 2 into rehearsals, and then everything got shut down. So we've done a couple things, and I say we. Kiki's done a couple things in lieu of actually doing choir. One of which, our choir director, Bryce, taught a Zoom class all about Broadway musicals. Kiki, you seem to know more about Broadway musicals than any other person I've ever met. What did you learn that you didn't already know in that class?
I think I learned about some of the earlier musicals that I wasn't familiar with. There were musicals originated, and just got a little more familiar with some of the musicals from the early 1900s, 1920s, 30s, 40s, and up through the modern musical, which was last week, our last class. So, yeah.
Yep, and I didn't pay to be in the Zoom class, but I just kind of lurked in the background and listened to everything Bryce had to say, but only for the last few classes, eagerly anticipating him talking about Hamilton. And then I was a little bummed that he didn't spend more time talking about Hamilton. I could have used more Hamilton talk.
Oh, I think there's more musicals than Hamilton out there.
I don't really think there's many that matter more than Hamilton.
Well, it's one person's opinion. Hamilton's pretty cool, but so are some of the others.
Yeah. So in addition to that, last week Kiki had their first organizational meeting, and there's scheduled to do a rehearsal for a Christmas sing-along in the barn. Is there a name for this event?
Nope. Christmas sing-along in the barn.
I think that's so. And you're going to have 10 or so people in there?
Not more than 10.
Not more than 10. As of today, Monday, December 14th, the Virginia guidelines are no gatherings 10 or more.
Right.
So you're limiting it to 10, and you're going to have some opera singers in there.
2 opera singers and me, and then some other singers that have had some musical experience and background in singing in groups, large groups, small groups. So, and the acoustics in the barn are pretty cool, kind of like being in a horsey cathedral.
Horsey Cathedral, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The sound sounds great because it's very high ceilings with barns made of cinder block, so the sound bounces off the cinder block pretty nicely.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're gonna spread ourselves out around the barn aisle, and probably have some luminaries around to keep the lighting kind of cool. And we're gonna sing some a cappella Christmas carols. Hopefully record them and then share them with the barn people. Our rehearsal was pretty cool the other night, so.
So the acoustics are as good as you thought they would be?
Absolutely. Yep.
And do you have the songs all picked out?
Yeah.
And you're avoiding all of the cheesy Christmas songs,
No
right?
cheesy Christmas songs. No Rudolph, no Frosty, no Santa Claus, no, none of that. All traditional, sort of popular carols that people know.
Popular carols people know, but not pop songs.
Not pop songs.
Cool.
No.
Right on. All right, let's move into thing number 3, something silly. Kiki just told me a few minutes ago.
Hit by a branch.
Yeah, they need to trim the trees on this lift. Kiki just told me a few minutes ago that there's a horse in her barn. Is it in your barn?
No.
Where is this horse?
I don't know where he's at. We looked into purchasing him.
Okay.
But we did not.
We did not purchase the king of all media. There's a horse named King of All Media. And for anybody that's a Howard Stern fan, such as myself, you'll know exactly what that's a reference to. Our conversation started off with Kiki asking me if Howard... First off, she said, I'm going to be the next Howard Stern because of this amazing podcast.
Not
which
me, you.
I'll take that as a compliment. And then she was like, Howard Stern's called the King of All Media, right? And so, yeah, he was called that because... He about the same time, he had a book out called Private Parts. He had a movie out based on the book Private Parts. The book was a #1 bestseller. The movie was a #1 movie. The soundtrack for the movie was the #1 album sold that week, and he was, of course, #1 on the radio. So that's pretty much all the media. So he was, for a little while there, he was the king of them all. And he would argue, of course, that he still is the king of them all. But yeah. So there's a horse. So what did this horse do to earn this name?
Somebody just named him that.
They were just a Howard Stern
Must
fan,
have
you
been
think?
A Howard Stern fan, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. So he's lurking out there somewhere, not with us.
So Kiki said she couldn't talk, but we now have actual evidence that she absolutely can talk on a podcast while being recorded. And hopefully this won't be the last time she's on the podcast. I sort of roped her in and
I
sort of...
no choice.
I just started talking to her and she couldn't stop herself from talking back to me, and I just happened to be recording. So, 3 things with JR, hitting Snowshoe Mountain, West Virginia, in a blizzard. So that's where we are right now. We're on a lift that just stopped because somebody doesn't know how to get on or get off the lift, which is fine. We're fine. Good lift time is part of the fun of skiing. It's a good chance to rest your legs. How's the knee doing, by the way, with the skiing? Has it gotten better throughout the day?
Gotten better.
Yeah?
Still crackling, but yeah, it's okay.
Right on. I think that'll do it for this episode of 3 Things with JR. I'm going to go home and edit this thing and drop it on the interwebs tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Drum solo.